Hey there, Miss Wallace here from Olympic View. Are you ready to paint with me? I'm very excited. So, if you have one of these, let's open it up. This is our penguin. And inside you will find some fun goodies. Okay, you have your paints with your paintbrushes. And then in here, you'll just find my business card, just in case you want to have a paint party for a birthday or just a fun celebration, girls' night out. So that's what this is for. And then of course you have a fun sticker. And then here's our canvas. You can see I've already traced it on there for you. Okay. So the only thing that you need to grab before we get started is a cup of water. It doesn't have to be very big and you don't have to fill it up to the top. This is just to clean off our brushes. Okay, once you go get your water, come on back and let's start. All right, here we go. I ripped my little reference, but on the outside of your kit there is a little reference picture, so keep in mind you can add in whatever colors you would like. This is just to get us started and for a guide. So I'm going to start with this blue and this purple for the background. Again, if you want to make your background green, or you could do gray. Gray would be really nice. You can mix the black and the white and make like a nice little gray background. This is our glitter. We're going to save this for the very, very end. If we put it on now, the glitter is going to get buried underneath all the paint and we won't see the fun, pretty glitter. So use this one for the very end. So open up your paint. So here I use my little pinchy fingers and I just kind of twist. Okay, careful because they do kind of come up kind of fast. Okay, I have to hold it this way. Okay, ask for help if you need some help. Okay, so I'm going to open up those two. Okay, and I'm going to start with our larger brush. And I'm just going to dig right in. Okay. I'm going to put a few little streaks of purple in here. And then I'm going to go right into my blue. I didn't rinse my brush or anything. I just went straight into blue. I'm going to go right over that purple. And then I'm going to go really slow around the pencil line. But you will see I'm going right up to the pencil line. No white gaps whatsoever. Okay. On your reference, you'll see that there's a little snowy area that he's standing on. So you can go ahead and add that if you'd like. Keep it this way. I added just a little line right here at the bottom on both sides. That will just remind me to stop right there because you can see I've already kind of went too far down. So that will remind me to stop right there. And then we'll continue painting. So I'm going to fast forward this and paint the rest of this all blue. And again, you want to make sure you go all the way to the pencil line. You can go nice and slow when you get close to the penguin. Then you can go a little bit faster as you're coming away from it. Oh, and don't forget, you can also go all the way around the canvas. That will make it a nice finished look at the end. Then you can go a little bit faster as you're coming away from it. Oh, and don't forget, you can also go all the way around the canvas. That will make it a nice finished look at the end. All right. All right, now that you have your background all nice and blue, you can go back in and add a little bit more purple if you'd like, or you can add more pink. You're gonna get underneath of his, oh, don't forget this little part. Look, I almost forgot. There's this little triangle right underneath of his wing. There we go, that's better. And I'm just kind of blending in that purple a little bit. All right, we got the background done. I'm now gonna rinse my brush. You can wipe it off on a paper towel if you'd like, just so it's nice and clean. All right, now I'm gonna open up the white. Again, I'm gonna hold it. I'm just gonna pop it open with my thumb. So now I'm just gonna paint the bottom. I know the bottom's already white, but we're just gonna paint it. And then right underneath of his cute little feet there, I'm gonna continue adding some more white. The white will help us blend in some other colors. And then right underneath of his little belly and underneath of his little feet, I'm just gonna put just a corner of my brush into the blue. See, just a little bit of blue, because we don't need a whole lot. And I'm just gonna go make little itty bitty little strokes right underneath of his little feet. Just a little bit. Okay. And then, because I have a little bit more blue than I need, I'm gonna rinse it off. Okay. So now I have a nice clean brush, and I'm just gonna blend the white and the blue back and forth. So this is gonna be his little shadow. So it looks like he's kind of standing on the ground, so it doesn't look like he's floating up in the air. I'm just kind of blending that by going back and forth. Next, we're gonna jump right into painting the penguin. I'm gonna open up the black. Okay. So the black is pretty straightforward. We're just going to go ahead and paint his little wings, and again I'm going to go right up to the edge of that line and right up to the blue. I don't want any white space in between there because we want it to make it nice and complete. Forget. So you can add in, you can use this thin brush if you'd like. Where's my black? I'm going to add in just a little bit of black. And then I'm just going to start right here next to his scarf. And I'm just going to draw a little line. So it curves a little bit, not much. And I'm going to do the same thing on the side. I'm going to start over here close to his little wing. And I'm going to come right down to his top of his foot. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and move up to the top of his head. And go right around here. All right, how we do? Now I'm gonna let my penguin dry. Let's see if I can fix that a little bit. I'm gonna let them dry for a minute. So while this is drying, I'm gonna rinse out my brush and we are going to do his little toes. I'm gonna go ahead and open up the orange. Okay. And I'm just gonna paint his little feet. I'm not really worrying about the pencil lines right now. I'm just gonna paint all of the little toes orange. We're just gonna get a nice solid orange. There we go. Hopefully you can still see the pencil lines a little bit. So I'm just gonna let that dry. Okay, and you can tell your penguin's dry when it's all nice and matte. When it's still shiny, it means it's still wet. So I can see that this is all dry, but this is still a little shiny. So we're gonna go on and we're going to do the base color for the hat. This is where you can really make it your own. You see, I did more of a pink and purple hat, but you can do a green, you can do a yellow. So let's see, I'm gonna open up the pink. Okay, I'm still using the same brush. And I'm gonna do the back of the beanie. And maybe instead of purple this time, just to mix it up, instead of purple along here, maybe I will do some orange. If you make a big uh-oh, you can always take your paper towel. You can just dip a little bit of it into your water. Just a little bit. You can, as long as the paint's still wet, you can kind of wipe some of that paint away. If it's dry, then you can't do that. You have to just paint over it. But mine was still wet, so I was able to get some of that off. All right. Ooh. You know what? While I'm still working with the orange, I might as well do his cute little beak too. Or his beak. And I'm just going to start with a nice orange beak. Nothing fancy yet. Okay. All right, he's looking so cute. And I'm going to add in some white to his belly. And you're like, but it's already white. It's okay. We're going to add in a little bit of white, especially right here on the edges. And then like we did here down at the bottom, we're going to just use a little bit of blue. You can see just a little bit. Can you tell? Just a itty bitty corner of that blue. And I'm going to add it to the sides of his belly. This is to make his belly look a little round. And then as we get to the center of his belly, we want it to be nice and white. If you're like me, you're like, uh-oh, I got too much blue. You can rinse out your brush, nice and clean. And I'll wipe it off with my paper towel, so I have a nice clean brush. And then I'm just going to blend it back and forth like this. if you're like, oh, I still have too much blue, you can add a little bit more white. Gives his belly a little bit of dimension, okay? We're gonna do the same thing around his face. So let's go back to the black. This is where we can have a little fun with it. Here, if we'd like, we can add a little purple or a little pink. So I'm going to add a little purple to his little wing. I think everybody at Olympic View knows that I like purple. I don't think that's a secret. Okay, I'm going to put some little bit around here. I added a little bit of white to my purple just to make it stick out a little bit. I don't know if I'm loving it. Okay. And I'm going to draw a little bit of a purple line there. A little purple line around his face. Okay. Yeah, I'm not loving his little wings, so I'm going to go back and fix that in a little bit. Let's paint a scarf. So here you want to start with your base color. I did purple on this one to match his hat. So here I'm going to make the base color pink to match his hat. Okay. So now I'm going to decorate the scarf. Okay, I'm going to use my small brush. And again, I'm going to match the hat. So I have pink, so I'm going to use some orange. And you can do polka dots, you can do stripes, you can leave it plain, whatever you want to do. I'm going to make some nice orange stripes on here. And you can see that my lines are not necessarily straight. They have a little bit of a curve to them. Okay, and then for the part of the scarf that's going down, my lines are going to go the other way. Okay. And just to add in a little bit of contrast, I'm going to add in some fun yellow. Okay. And I'm going to go right in between the orange Well, there you go. What do you think? While I have my yellow out, and if you did a different color, that's fine. But I'm going to get my yellow out, and I'm going to do a little bit of highlight here with this beak. So So just the top of that line, there's a little line. I'm gonna do yellow. I'm gonna rinse out my brush. Okay, and go back into orange. Just kind of blend those two colors a little bit. Okay, if you want to make it all yellow, that's fine. I think I'm going to go back in and just to do a little bit more of a line there though, just so it sticks out a little bit more. There we go. I'm going to kind of do the same thing with his little feet. I almost called them paws. They're not paws. They're little penguin feet. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of yellow. There we go. We're almost done. So next, let's do the eyes. In my sample, my eyes are a little bit darker blue. If you like that look, you can scoop up some of your blue and put it on your paper plate, and then scoop up a little bit of purple and put it on your paper plate, and you can kind of mix it. It won't give it that exact blue, but it will darken up that blue a little bit. You can add just a smidgen of black too if you like. Okay, and that will give it a nice kind of a darker. Okay, now the inside, I'm gonna do black. All right, his eyes are done. I'll go back and fix these little circles with white once this is all dry. But now I'm going to go back and add a little bit of water to my black on my paper plate. You can see I have a little bit of black here. I'm going to add in some water with my brush. And I'm just going to kind of wipe off some of that brush, off some of that paint. And here you can kind of make some little lines. Okay. So if you thin out the paint a little bit with water, kind of helps make those lines a little bit thinner. You can also do this with a Sharpie too, but you have to make sure that the paint is dry. Sometimes that's a good way to go. If the paint is wet and you use a Sharpie, then you're gonna ruin the Sharpie. Okay, I'm gonna go around the scarf a little bit. So here, for this part, I'm gonna add just a little bit more orange right there to the front of his hat. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add in a little bit of yellow. Nothing fancy. And then you can go in and add just a little bit. More pink to this part of the hat. And I might just add in just a little bit of orange, just to bring it all together. Kind of brighten it up a little bit. So cute. Okay, one last thing I want to do. Ooh, two last things. I'm going to add a little bit more outline to his hat. And then the last thing, remember how I didn't like this part? Now that it's all nice and dry, I'm just going to paint over it. So this is a good way to kind of fix your painting if there's a spot that you really don't like. You can just kind of let it dry and you can paint over it. That's one thing I really like about acrylics. Okay. I'm going to leave a little bit of purple line right there because I like that. Same with this, I'm going to leave just a little purple line on this side. Because I liked a little bit of it, but it was just way too much. Okay, and then if you want to add just a little dot, kind of make that a little bit more of a circle. There we go. What do you think? Alrighty. Well, thank you for painting with me. I had a lot of fun. I hope you enjoy your penguin. If you're painting this at home, please share it. I would love to see how they all turn out. Thanks a ton. See you later.